I'm delighted today to have Lionel from RGZ Developments with me. Thank you so much for making time.
Thank you very much, Brian.
I thought it was a really interesting space to talk about designer brands, luxury brand names, global icons that's coming into the residential space. And I thought it might be good to go through that journey with an expert like yourself and learn a little bit more. I mean, what's your take on what you're seeing in the market today?
Well, basically what we're seeing is that branded residences started several years ago, definitely here in Marbella, Costa del Sol. Funny is that the trend stays in Marbella mainly, so we don't see it spread over the Costa del Sol, just here in Marbella. And basically we have brands here at the moment, if you're looking at a Fendi, a Dolce & Gabbana, if you're looking at Karl Lagerfeld, for example, Elisab. Branded residences can be, for example, affiliated with a fashion brand, can be affiliated with a car brand, or even with a watch brand, for example. We have joined, obviously, recently also the journey of the branded residences. We have signed an exclusive agreement with Versace Home for 8 luxury villas, again in Marbella, in the part of Nueva Andalucía. People just want to have a residential property, but a little bit different than the rest. You have loads of properties here in Marbella, Costa del Sol. You have apartments, you have villas, you have townhouses, you have everything. But that particular brand is just that little bit extra that people say, I want that. It's called in Spanish, it's called capricho. It's something that little bit extra that you can show to your neighbor, your friends, your family. Listen, I've got this. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I've got a house of 1 million, me too, but I've got a brand.
And I don't think you can get a lower brand in any landscape than Versace, can you?
Versace is one of the top. Obviously, you have the top brands here as well. It's not easy to reach these agreements. Obviously, Italian brands, they're not easy to work with. And second of all, it took us nearly 2 years to come to this agreement. And besides then, yeah, it's an absolute experience. Basically, what we're doing is with the brand, or the agreement that you have, obviously, you go basically from start to finish. So we've got a project that we have for 8 villas, independent villas, and basically they're doing the design of the pool, the kitchen, the floors, the atrium, the outdoor garden area. They are involved in everything. So this is a step from start to finish. And yeah, it's a privilege for me to do this. Obviously.
Oh, incredibly so. I mean, even the brand name in itself, we all resonate with that, don't we? Yeah. But imagine having a home that's got complete finishings from start to finish from such an elusive brand as well. So how does that come together? Do they have a design team specifically for construction and working with you in that space?
Well, we have obviously at RGZ Developers, we are a joint venture with a big construction company here in Spain. It's called Copasa. Copasa is big in 16 countries. It's one of the biggest construction companies here in Spain. And they obviously put the guidelines for the design, but also for the construction and during the construction. That also means choosing supplies, etc., materials, etc. They are involved in everything. They have more projects obviously going on. So there is a team that is dedicated to us working with this project, but obviously that team has other projects as well. But like I said, it's very, very interesting. The team is coming to Marbella beginning September, where we do a kickoff meeting where we're going to show a little bit Marbella, Puerto Banús, the project, the views, etc. Get a little bit of feeling for the lifestyle, because having a branded residence is fantastic, but people come here for the lifestyle. What we've seen when COVID started, and when COVID started to end, basically, is that a lot of people started to work online, remote, from home. So going to the office from 9 to 5 from Monday to Friday wasn't really necessary anymore. So what a lot of people did basically is they sold up, they came down here to Marbella, or let's say Costa del Sol, and basically they started working from here. So here they have the nice lifestyle, they've got the nice golf courses, you got the nice beach clubs, you got the really good schools. Schools here are not cheap, but hey, it's a very different lifestyle here. And people can still continue and grow their business here, but in a different way. If you're coming from London, for example, or Amsterdam, or Paris, or Italy, or whatever, it's a very hush-buzz, it's a very driven, chaotic lifestyle. This is completely relaxed. Here you stand up in the morning, let's say 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, you have a nice breakfast, you have a stroll on the Paseo Marítimo, you walk your dogs, and then you go to work at 10 o'clock. Okay, you work a bit longer here. You work, let's say, till 8, 9 o'clock in the evening. But it's so much more relaxed. And when you live here and when you understand the Spanish language, you really start to understand why.
Oh, I couldn't agree that more. I mean, look, I've been here on and off for 25 years, and the morning you described is mine.
Yeah.
And I've been living like that over that period and always enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure my dog always does because he's a big hairy thing, but heat aside, it's just a marvelous lifestyle. And compared to my times in London and Denver and Colorado and in Miami more recently, Miami's got that wealth of sunshine and lifestyle, but it's a bit of a hustle and a bustle.
Yeah.
And that freeway is just horrendous. We can be a little bit busy around Puerto Banús at times, but I mean, that's probably the only downside I ever tend to mention to my clients.
That is basically here also the time of the year, obviously. We see a big increase. We've seen it now with the hotels, obviously. When we had the drought here, for example, we're not really sure if you're going to be able to rent out your villa, for example, with your private pool. And then in April, May, they announced that the hotels, they could go open again, they could open the pools again. So they've seen a huge increase in a short period of time on the rental of the hotels, basically. In the summer season, obviously, July and August, yes, it's busy. Marbella, Portugal.
But that brings us into an interesting space for me, and coming back to branded residences, because if you're in a situation where you do own a branded residence, surely it would be much more easier to rent.
Absolutely.
And it'll be a much more attractive proposition for ultra or high net worth individuals who are looking for a vacation home in July or August.
Yes. Obviously, you have a project, let's say our project, it's called Ocho de Oro. Basically, it's 8 luxury villas. I don't really see that this is the type client that is buying this unit basically to rent out.
No.
I think this is really, it's just one of 8. It doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. So if we're looking at a different type project, for instance, here on the Golden Mile, where you have, let's say, a Fendi or a Dolce & Gabbana, for example, where you're looking at 90 plus units or 200 plus units, I think that is a market that people say, yes, okay, let's rent that out. But this is so special, so exclusive, does not exist. I think these people really, they have so much money.
Yes.
I just think that they buy it as a third, fourth, or fifth.
I was about to say it's a portfolio home, really, isn't it?
Is it
It's not that second home in the sun in this situation. It's very much a different aspect. Yeah. Look, I know from my time in Miami, where we turned over 550 odd properties, it was quite an interesting exercise how the demand for higher worth properties has kept increasing and increasing and increasing. And way before COVID actually finished, the extraordinary thing in that particular marketplace, it bounced back so fast. But they were always asking me, but you're British, what have you got different? What's going on in Europe? And that's why we're here today in part, because I feel we need to share that with them and show what Marbella is really about.
Yeah, we have seen since COVID that obviously the client has changed the way of life. Obviously, they came here to be remote. Second is also we've seen the budget increase. 10 years ago, yes, you had your clients because you have the luxury areas here. You have Sierra Blanca, Camojan. A little bit further up, you got Zagaleta. Obviously, it's the most exclusive residential urbanization here in the Costa del Sol, or South of Europe, basically. There you will find villas of 25, 30, 35 million euros. The budgets that we had prior to COVID, you're looking, and it could be 1 a month, let's say 2 a month, that you have a budget 6, 8 million euros. Yes. After COVID changed, obviously, and definitely after the war between the Ukraine and Russia, obviously things have changed, that we had an increase in East European clients, and the budget suddenly changed and they become 10, 15 millions and upwards. And that is something that nobody could have predicted, obviously, but it's good for us, obviously, because we are specializing in the high-end luxury sector. So our developments, they start, let's say, for example, here in Camojan, we got the 5 houses there. They're starting at 7.5, 8 million euros each. For the Versace villas, you're going to look at a starting price, let's say 10, 12 million euros. And this is a market, there is a big demand. And there's not a lot of people, let's say, or developers, let's say, they're specializing in this sector. Yes, you can always buy a nice villa of 10 million euros, spend 3, 4 million euros, do it up, renovate it, and then sell it. But it's not the same as actually being a developer and developing a project from scratch.
Yes. And that diversification we're seeing, you allude to, is quite evident in the market space at all levels and pricing. I think what you're seeing is that Spain's perceived what it is, a very safe and welcoming country. And therefore, there's no real political upheaval here. We've got the climate and a lifestyle which is quite extraordinary, really. We're very, very blessed and fortunate to live in it. So if you are investing, and some countries are making it quite difficult to have investments in. My home country don't make it too easy now if you have investments in properties these days. And that stealth taxes does bother all of us.
Yeah.
We don't want to pay them unless we need to pay them.
Absolutely.
So why would we not take advantage of an opportunity where you're a welcoming country with a great climate, where the people enjoy you being here, and you can have a property to be proud of and enjoy, and whether it's to use some of the year as part of your portfolio or live here all the time.
Well, we've seen, for example, a big increase also in the prices per square meter here in Marbella. This was a report that was published by Idealista, which is a leading, let's say, website portal here in Spain. You will find the average property there, let's say, somewhat exclusive, but the high-end exclusive property you will not find on there. But they do a very good market study, and they also studied that, let's say, 10 years ago, you're looking at price per square meter here around the 2,400 euros per square meter.
Yeah, wow.
Now we're looking at an average, this is an average, of 4,800 euros per square meter.
Yes.
If you go in here, we're here on the Golden Mile today, and very close to us, you got Marbella Club and Puente Romano. To give you just a small example of the numbers, price per square meter, you got units at the moment in the Puente Romano resort. You can buy them, obviously. There's a 3-bedroom frontline beach unit, and that reverts back to 51,000 euros per square meter. The villas from Karl Lagerfeld, for example, they are touching 25,000 euros per square meter. And these are just prices that we could not have thought of. When I came here 24 years ago, I did not think that these prices will happen. But the funny thing is, there's not even a site that is coming down. The trend is starting to catch up more and more and more.
Yeah, it's increasing. It was funny, I read this Savills report last week, and we've been doing a kind of written piece for this feature as well, working with a couple of journalists. And the take was that 10 years ago, there was maybe 10 or 15 recognized global brands, if you will, who are not property people doing property items. Now they're talking 900 this year, and instead of a projected 2,000 in 10 years' time, they're now talking about in the next 5 years. So it's quite an influx. Well, and price isn't a question, is it? It's not really.
And the people that are spending these type of money, they have the money, so they don't really care, basically. But yeah, it's a trend, and people just say, well, what about a possible crisis, etc. We also need to understand that where we are in Marbella, the coastal port Marbella. In Marbella, in case of a crisis, Marbella could drop down a little bit, which we've seen 10 years ago, obviously, but it recuperated so quickly, and it advanced even quicker than we could have anticipated. So if something could happen or would happen, we are very strong believers that if we stay here in the Marbella area, we are safe with our investments.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And historical trends give us that confidence as well. The charts don't lie. You know, I'm a firm believer in historical numbers, and one of the things we always talk to our clients about is comparative market analysis if they're in that space and want to know. But again, you go back to your portfolio of having something like a brand. If you're buying a brand, you accept you pay that premium to have that brand. And in the same way that with cars, I mean, car brands are associated now with property developments too. So your car might devalue, but most likely your property will increase in value. Although some cars do increase in value, come to think of it.
All timers, absolutely. But the same goes for watches, etc. as well.
Yeah, so it's an exciting space, and it's an exciting space because the other thing I wanted to touch on with you, you as a company do quite incredible things, and you do extraordinary product to me. And the more I've learned about you, the more I kind of get excited about it, to be honest. If you wouldn't mind, would you share some more about your other projects and your developments? Because we know there are clients needing to probably hear about this and get to know you and get to know us a little bit more and learn that if you're not necessarily wanting a brand name, you've still got incredible, luxurious home opportunities for you here in Marbella.
Absolutely. Well, first it's all a question about demand, obviously, offer and demand. Very rare here in Marbella is urban land to start with. So land prices have gone up drastically. So what we do basically when we're looking at opportunities to develop a new project, like I said before, we always focus on Marbella. Basically we do a very extensive market study. We make sure that the land has the right value. If it's too expensive, we will not touch it. And basically when the land has a good value, obviously we see what we can do. If we can do apartments, if we can do villas or townhouses. We also always look at a high quality, let's say, resort community that we want to build. Important for us as always is a security, so a gated community. Our project at the moment that we have here in Camogan is 5 luxury villas. We're looking there with the terraces, etc. We're looking between 1,400 to nearly 1,800 square meter built per villa. Pricing there, we're looking between 7.5 to 8.5 million euros. So this is where we're going to start our construction. Probably now in September, because August obviously nothing can happen. So Camogan is already a closed gated security complex. We've also developed originally the project Unique in El Rosario, which was 96 units, where basically we just dived in with a French investor. We put in the money together and we bought the land. We developed the project, we got the license obviously, and this was for 96 units and was a total sales value of 330 million euros. Now, when we came to Camogan, obviously we needed more equity, so we basically sold our part of the company back to the French investor, and we continued to continue with the collection Camogan. Other projects that we have done is a project of 29 apartments in Estepona, which is called Campanario Hills. That's very typical with the typical design, with the round design with the private pools on each terrace. And also we did several years ago here on the Puente Romano, we did the project The Collection, which was 26 townhouses, a price range, let's say, between 1.2 and 1.8. And at the moment you find resales of 2.8, 3.2 million euros. So we know that we did good. Yeah, and also the buyers, obviously, they did good. Our future projects at the moment, obviously, we've launched now officially. We have the 8 luxury villas that we did with Versace Home. Mm-hmm. Those are villas on 3 levels. We're looking at 1,040, 1,050 square meter built on 3 levels with very typical, let's say, an indoor heated pool that's connecting to an outdoor pool with a glass wall in the middle. Flat gardens we're going to create between 300 up to 1,000 square meters where we will enjoy the panoramic views of Africa, Gibraltar, the Nueva Andalucía Gulf Valley, for example, a little bit Cadiz Mountain in the back. West facing, so absolutely amazing panoramic views. On 3 levels, so we always have 3-4 pools in the house, 6 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms, and then obviously the qualities where at this stage I cannot explain a lot because we're completely in the design phase with Versace. The exclusivity of this project is that it's so exclusive that the line, the furniture line, so the beds, the sofa, the cushions, the lamps, etc., they don't exist yet. So they are creating a brand new line for these 8 villas. So that's what I'm trying to say, is how exclusive is this going to be?
It sounds too exclusive to even talk about. And that's kind of what's happening here, isn't it? Because they're going to be so particular and it's so, I mean, unique designs just for these properties is something that you can't really buy in a Versace store or even imagine or contemplate. So the clientele that wants that space, that you're giving them that property.
We've also seen that in general, and this has been happening obviously before, that the branded residences have a different level of price. So your step-in price obviously is always around the 25, 30, 35% higher than the same property without the brand. And obviously you have 2 types of brands. So you have a furnished buy. That means that the developer has the design of the house and the brand just puts in the furniture. Or it's actually a designed buy. And that means that they also look at the architectural design and they change that as well. And that's what we're working with at the moment.
Sounds really impressive. So it's quite clear why Versace chose RGZ Developments, because you've got a great proven track record in the upper market. So high net worth individuals, ultra high net worth individuals can take great confidence they're going to get a great product from you. So that works really well in that fit.
Absolutely.
So it sounds to me like if you want opportunities in understanding more about the Marbella luxury property space, we talk to us, learn more about what's going on today and in the future, because both sound quite exciting to me.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for making time to talk to me.
Thank you very much,
today.
Brian.
I really appreciate it.